Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lion's Den Show. And here's your host, Cody Robert Judy.
Hello, and welcome to the Lion's Den Show. I'm your host and your toast, Cody Robert Judy. Today is Monday, December 6, 2010, and we're smack down in the middle of Decision 2012 for President. Today I want to inform you of discussion taking place on Patriots for America, and you can find the link right here. There have been quite a few names circulated and suggested as candidate for President 2012. You know, everyone mentioned in the comments are good people and legally qualified, except I'm not quite sure about Bobby Jindal. He may have an issue with the legal qualifications for running for president. While many say I am stuck in the election of 2008, the consideration here is both the Democrats and the Republicans both ran ineligible candidates who were not legally qualified in 2008. And in reality, until this is cleared up, Obama's signature on everything he's signed is de facto instead of de jure, or in common terms, illegitimate rather than legitimate. One of the more serious demands of our U.S. President is that he stand up and defend our U.S. Constitution. If you want to make light of that when it gets down to it, our Constitution is the binding glue for the states as a union. You rip that up and the states will come undone. From Canada to Mexico, from sea to shining sea. And you'll have 50 different countries popping up instead of a United States. And then you'll have 50 different countries making their own treaties or making their own allies. Rest assured, the United Nations would also cease to exist because you sure wouldn't have any unity with the former United States, and you sure wouldn't have the economy of United Consumers that is supporting so many countries' economies right now. That is the supreme interest of other countries who have taken years to fight out borders and commercial lanes and neighboring countries through a bloodshed in many, many battles. Back to the candidates of contemplation. What has any one of these suggested people done to defend our Constitution and the qualifications demanded in the most powerful position our executive branch of government has, Pontius, President of the United States? Why are Republicans so afraid to question Obama's eligibility with the controlling House? If our president can take us to war and say so, wouldn't having one that's qualified be important? Yet all of these people have believed Obama was qualified and have not taken a stand for our Constitution in this very simple and important demand. It's not a motion, it's a demand. The suggestions we've mulled over so far: Herman Cain, Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, Mike Pence, Jim DeMint, Alan West, Donald Trump, Tim Pawlenty, Ron Paul, Duncan Hunter, Chris Christie, John Bolton, Colonel West, Mitt Romney, Mike Pence, Bobby Jindal, and even Judge Neville O'Connell. I guess these are questions everyone can ask for themselves, but as for me, I have to question anyone's loyalty to the Constitution when they've not stood up against McCain and Obama for not being qualified to run as president in 2008. When simple lines are blurred, don't you think more complicated lines can blur even faster? This reminds me so much of the prophet Samuel in the Bible as he looked at 7 sons of Jesse. You'll see it in 1 Samuel 16:10 if you'd like to look it up. They were all capable of war, but were not right. Samuel asked Jesse, "Do you have any others?" There is no one who would have picked David. Jesse, the 8th son, who was a little scrawny shepherd boy who also played the harp. By the way, that was the electric guitar back in the old days. David was the harp player who also slew a giant named Goliath who was some 9 feet tall, and he did it in a not so conventional way. While everyone was scared to death of Goliath, David as a shepherd had actually slain lions and bears. Well, McCain's citizenship is at birth in the foreign country of Panama wasn't covered by law at the time of his birth. Congress passed a law specifically for the Panama Canal Zone 11 months after the birth and McCain was naturalized. So he was not a natural-born citizen. Now, Senate Resolution 511 was passed in the U.S. Senate in 2008, stating McCain was a natural-born citizen. That was a lie. He was not born in the United States. Senate Resolution 511 was a constitutional farce because it circumvented the House and a president's signature to become a law for the United States. And that's what's required for a constitutional amendment or a change. Here is McCain's birth certificate from Panama, right here. Not the military hospital, the Panama hospital. And here was my lawsuit. You can skip the Obama part, or the link to my lawsuit. You can skip the Obama part if you're just interested in McCain's details. What's sad is the Republicans should be just as incensed that their vote for him was just as ineligible as those made for Obama. If Republicans were incensed about their vote not being counted on a qualified candidate, they could actually resign Obama. As long as they cover for McCain, Obama gets off scot-free. And that gives the motivation of why Senator Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton were the sponsors of Senate Resolution 511. Because they knew it would insulate Democrats for Obama and Republicans' attack. Dems pat Republicans back, Republicans pat Democrats back in a perversion of the constitutional demand for the United States President. Can you see treason? Can you see fraud here? Or traitors or tyrants of we the people? In the most simple and basic principle of our Constitution's demand for U.S. President. Now I get that. I get that many of the suggested people are good people. I get that. Many of the suggestions have in many instances been very successful in government in one sort or another, and in a variety of different facts and positions, and they may indeed be ready to serve in some capacity in the future. But as a leader of what our president is supposed to stand up for, where have they fallen? Where have they fallen? Not one has stood up and taken a stand against Obama's eligibility. They're gone. Nowhere. You can't find them. If being popular is more important to them than the principles espoused in our Constitution, how long do you think before the popularity will gain favor over the freedom and liberty of our Constitution and what our Constitution is all about? I get what Miss Twana Blevins is saying about, for instance, wanting someone who has indeed served in our military before. Why would that particular resume be important to us? Remember, it's not a qualification. The whole point would be that they had fought and been willing to lay their life, lay everything they had on the line for our Constitution. Where are these men and women in Lt.Col.Terry Lakin's defense? Where are they? Lt.Col. Terry Lakin has the courage. He is a defender of our Constitution. God bless him. But his honorary military record and his decorated service of 18 plus years is set up for a court-martial, the biggest black mark you could find, on an officer's conscientious objection. If actions speak louder than words to you, what actions has any of these suggested taken for a military man who has laid his life and his reputation on the line for our Constitution, and not had a single suggested candidate get on record as taking a stand for this courageous officer? What separates a decorated officer acting as a hero for our Constitution from a regular officer just putting his time in? What separates the wheat from the chaff? We in America have forgotten what leadership was all about, opting off for the popular figure rather than the courageous man who took a stand, even when it wasn't popular, but was morally right. If our U.S. President holds your very life in his decisions, whom do you want holding those reins? Someone who stood up for the right and unpopular, or someone who's sloughed off the right for every other country's interest except the United States? If President can't understand the very simple precepts of our Constitution and understand that principle trumps policy, What makes us believe that they can understand the complicated so much better? What I mean is, all of these people suggest are willing to fight on Obama's policy, but no one on the principle of the Constitution and the eligibility demand of our Constitution. That spells not good to me. So the list again: Herman Cain, Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, Mike Pence, Jim DeMint, Alan West, Donald Trump, Tim Pawlenty, Ron Paul, Duncan Hunter, Chris Christie, John Bolton, Colonel West, Mitt Romney, Mike Pence, Bobby Jindal, and even Judge Napolitano. Where are you? Where are you as future leaders and defenders of our United States Constitution? I like Mitt Romney, and so I'm going to pick on him especially. You spent $17 million on your campaign in 2008, but you couldn't spend $450 on a filing an action withstanding as a presidential candidate objection to Obama's eligibility, or help me with mine? I paid the $450 bucks out of my own pocket. I like Sarah Palin too. She's raking in the dough right now, but she can't support anyone who's questioning Obama's eligibility. These are champions you're considering as leaders of the United States who are supporting and actually voted for John McCain, who was ineligible as a candidate. He was not an eligible presidential candidate. Is this their leadership style? Are they scared for the bloodshed required to refresh the tree of liberty and freedom ever so often? And where have they proven in the past where their line is drawn, and has the line already not been crossed? In diluting actions of compromise, sacrificing simple constitutional principle demands and responsibilities. Hello? The evil Sheriff Nottingham will string you up and stretch your necks one by one. We're already at war. We have got to take our country, take a stand, and take our country back.